What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. And if you did test positive, hopefully you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. Alrighty, welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Pandemic Update for Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. If you're new to my channel, this is where we do the daily update on the coronavirus pandemic and some other health-related issues and viruses that are going around. If you may think that the pandemic's over, stick around. I guarantee by the end of this video, I will prove to you that no, the pandemic is not over. And of course, if you're new to my channel, subscribe to it down below. You'll get an update like this just about almost every day. Alright, today is a rather busy day. We have a lot of news to report on. We have to finish on Walgreens. Then we have some other data, including New York State starts its new reporting week on Tuesday. So we'll see where that's at. Hint, it's not good. Alrighty, Lee County schools closed. This is in Kentucky. Lee County schools closed due to illness. Lee County schools announced on their Facebook page that schools will be closed for the rest of the week due to student and staff illness. On Tuesday and Wednesday, schools will be closed. Thursday and Friday will be NTI days, whatever that means. I'm assuming that's teacher in service type thing. So, yep, Lee County in Kentucky is dealing with COVID issues. And here's our very honest headline. Maryland is seeing a new wave of COVID cases. Yeah, sure you are. But don't expect much masking or testing. I mean, they're being honest. Cases are going up around the country. We're not seeing many people mask. And some people are thinking, oh, it's just a summer cold, summer flu. Oh, it's just the sniffles. I don't need to take a test. Not much testing. So there you go. And hence why positivity rates around the country at this point are relatively high. They're really high in a lot of places. And let's continue on here. COVID-19 cases are rising again in Maryland and around the country, a, quote, smallish wave so far, but a reminder that the virus is sticking around and could cause trouble in the fall and winter when flu and respiratory, blah, blah, blah. So they're saying here it's a, quote, smallish wave, right? But at the same time, they say don't expect much testing. Well, of course, you're not going to see a huge rise in cases if you don't test for the cases. And at least they did not use this word that I absolutely hate right here. It's called a COVID surge, not an uptick. They use smallish. That's the first time we've seen someone use smallish. Usually they use the god-awful word uptick. No, it's a COVID surge. That's what it is. It's nothing else. It's a surge. You could call it a wave too, but primarily it's a COVID surge. All right, moving on to this. New COVID vaccine treatments, feds begin doling out portion of $5 billion for future care. Let's come down here and read a little bit. The Biden administration Tuesday announced it's allocating $1 billion for mid-stage COVID-19 vaccine trials to begin this fall, $300 million for the development of new monoclonal antibodies to protect people who are immunocompromised, and $100 million to explore new technologies to help prevent and treat infections. That's some good news. Moving on to this. We just talked about Maryland is rising, how the rest of the country is. Hollywood's no stranger. Hollywood studio Lionsgate brings back mask mandate amid COVID spike. And yes, this is the studio behind John Wick and The Hunger Games. They have reinstated the use of masks after several employees have tested positive for COVID-19. If you want to read more about this, I did put it on Twitter, and I am going to add this to my forum website as well, datareport.info, if you want to check that website out. Link will be down below. Alright, I know it says monkeypox here. I'm going to call it the correct way. Mpox outbreak declared in Spain's Barcelona after half a dozen cases have been detected in the city in the last month. So that's not good. Suddenly, Mpox is starting to pop up again. And then there is this. There was a Snoop Dogg concert in Texas. And look at this. 16 people taken to hospital for heat-related illness during a Snoop Dogg concert. So I believe this was just outside of Houston. Yeah, it says it happened on Saturday in the Woodlands, just north of Houston. And it says the venue was outdoors. Temperatures were in the triple digits. Officials with Montgomery County Hospital said 35 people were treated by medical professionals. All of those who were treated are reported to be in stable condition. But again, I mean, why would you not just postpone the concert when it's triple digit heat? I don't get it with these musicians. These musicians just feel the need to just press on because, ooh, they lost all that valuable time and money in 2020 when things were just canceled, and now they're just working their tails off. Ugh, it's just driving me absolutely bananas. Alrighty, moving on now. We do have to take a look at air quality for today. We still do have some concerning areas. Those fires are continuing up in Washington, but it is a little bit better. I mean, you're seeing not as many bad areas. There's still a bad corridor here from Northern California to Oregon to Washington, but it's not as widespread as the other days. And here in the east, from about the Great Lakes on east, we do have some near moderate air quality issues. It's just generally poor air quality. We've had it here. I've noticed it too myself. I noticed when I go outside, my throat started getting a little bit scratchy. Not as bad as yesterday evening, but I noticed that was happening when I went outside and started breathing in the air. Alright, moving on now. I do have a channel where we talk about climate. It is Climate Data Report. That's my channel. It'll be listed down below. We probably will do a climate update this afternoon. We did a brief update on Tropical Storm Harold, and there's Franklin out there in the Atlantic. There's going to be a potential flash flooding event from the Great Lakes down through Pennsylvania. The heat in the plains, there's a lot going on there. You get the idea. We talk about climate on my other channel. Alright, let's come over to Walgreens and finish the states we did not do yesterday. I think there were several, and we got to be careful here. Some of these states that look like they're white, they're actually not. So I may have missed some in the West Coast. I've been checking this out. So we ended with Michigan yesterday. And I believe we did Illinois, but let's just do Illinois again. First, let's do the national positivity. 44.9% nationally. Prior week was 44.1%. Difference of up 0.9%. And that's with testing being up in the United States. 4,001 tests. Prior week, 3,541. Illinois, 42.8% this week. 43% last week. Difference of up, down 0.2%. That's not up. That's down 0.2%. And testing, 194 versus 165, but I'm not going to go either way on this. I'm just going to tell you this much. 42.8% is way too high. Indiana, 45.5% this week, 36.4% last week. That's up 9.1%. That's 44 tests versus 22. That's a legitimate rise. Ohio, 47.8% this week, 33.3% last week. That's up 14.5% this week. 46 tests versus 45. That's a legitimate rise. Let's go to the Northeast and make our way south. Maine did not report this week. New Hampshire did not report this week. Vermont did not report this week. New York State did report this week. 52.9% positivity. 53.8% last week. Down 0.8%. 85 versus 93 tests. I get it. It's down a little bit, but 52.9% is just ridiculous. Massachusetts, 32% this week, 28.2% last week. Difference of up 3.8%, 50 tests versus 39. And then we come over to Rhode Island, which did not report. And that Massachusetts, that is a legitimate rise. Connecticut this week is 25%. And last week was 37.5%. That's 12.5% down. Less testing than last week. 16 versus 24. This is a legitimate drop. Yes, that's, still higher than we would like it to see, but it is a drop. Then we come down here to New Jersey. New Jersey this week, 42.3%. Last week was 40.2%. This is not good. Up 2%. Testing is up as well. 97 tests versus 87. That's up, and that's a relatively high positivity. Pennsylvania, 25.8% this week, 30.6% last week. Difference of down 4.7%. 31 tests versus 36. Yep, that's a legitimate drop. How about we come down to Delaware? Did Delaware report this week? nothing from Delaware. Then we have Maryland, 31.4% this week, 41.5% last week. Difference of down 10%, 35 versus 41. So testing's down. It's a legitimate drop. Virginia, 34.6% this week, 29.1% last week. Difference of up 5.5%. 78 tests versus 79. That's only a one test difference. It's a legitimate rise. Kentucky, did we do that yesterday? I don't think we did. And this is not good. 52.2% this week, 31.3% last week, and 20.9% increase. Big increase with testing up as well. 23 versus 16. This, my friends, is a legitimate rise. Then we come down here to Tennessee. 38.6% this week, 36.4% last week. Difference of up 2.2%. Total tests, 70 versus 44. So, yeah, it's a big increase in testing, too. That's a legitimate rise. North Carolina, 35.1% this week, 39.5% last week. Difference of down 4.4%. And testing's up, 134 tests versus 119. South Carolina, 37.3% this week, 42.6% last week. Difference of down 5.3%. The positivity's still high, but it is a legitimate drop. 67 tests versus 68, and so testing went down, but yet the positivity did as well. All right, Georgia. I got a feeling this is going to be bad. Yep, it is. 41.5% this week, 34.9% last week, up 6.6% with a big increase in testing, almost up about 95 more tests. 270 versus 175. That's a big increase in testing. This is definitely a legitimate rise. And Alabama going to be the same? Yep. 28.3% this week, 22.6% last week. Difference of up 5.7%. Testing's up as well. 46 versus 31. And just a few more states to go. Mississippi, 35% this week, 37.5% last week. Difference of down 2.5%. Total tests, 20 versus 16. Louisiana, whoa, 50% positivity this week. 7.1% last week. Difference of up 42.9%. And testing's up 18 versus 14. So there's a lot of issues here. This is a legitimate rise to a number that's just way too high. 50%, my friends, that's ridiculous. And they only did 18 tests. Yes, that's higher than last week's 14, but come on. You need to be doing a lot more testing than this. How about Florida? Florida is at 49.1% positivity, 48.2% last week, a difference of up 0.9%, 735 tests this week, 685 last week. This is a legitimate rise. Alrighty, I think that covers all the states that have reported this week that we did not do yesterday. If I missed any, apologies for that. Alright, moving on. We know that wastewater, it's going up. The Midwest is the only region where it's not rising, and we do expect that to be corrected. They've had to correct the Midwest before, so we'll see what happens there. Taking a look at the CDC page for wastewater. Let's move myself to the left here. And you can see here, there's a lot of red and orange sites at this point. Something we do not like to see. Now let's take a look at a few of those wastewater sites that show some other things. We do want to refresh this. Let's make sure that it's up to date since I looked at it just a little bit earlier. And we want to take a look at a few of those sites that report on other things. And today I think we're going to do one. Let's go down here closer to New York City. Let's do Newark, New Jersey. COVID, it's been rapidly rising. The most recent update, it dropped ever so slightly. Influenza, look at this. It's starting to be detected. RSV is not detected. HMPV is not an issue. Mpox, not an issue. And norovirus at this time, look at that. Norovirus is starting to rise as well. Let's come out and do another one. We're just going to do one more because we do still have several things to show you yet. And let's come out here to the middle of the country. How about Salina? I hope I'm saying that correctly. Salina, Kansas. COVID, almost going straight up. Influenza, not detected. RSV, not an issue. HMPV, no longer an issue. It was earlier in the summer. Mpox, not detected. And norovirus is dropping at this time. All right, Now I have to show you this. People admitted to the hospital for COVID last week, 12,613. Yep, that number continues to go up. That's a 19% increase. Hopefully we see the news today, the national news that will be on in just a few hours. Hopefully we see them actually report on that, because this is a serious issue. And people are saying, oh, 19%, that's not a big increase. Okay, it's 19% over last week. Last week was what? 14% over the previous week. Previous week was 10%. Get where I'm saying here? This is a growing number. And people are saying, oh, well, it's less than last year. Not all hospitals are testing for COVID. Many are, but not all of them, and that's a problem. So the real number, if I had to guess what the real number is, that we're seeing 12,613, it's probably north of 15,000 at this point. So, do I need to say much about this? It's pretty much self-explanatory, but I'll just say what the colors mean. Orange, this like Ohio. Then the brighter orange, like Kentucky, the darker orange, I should say. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, those are moderate to substantial rises. Anything yellow is stable. Gray did not report. The majority of states at this time, they are rising. All right, moving on. We do have one thing today in pandemic history. August 22nd, 2020. A study published by the Journal of American Medical Association calls into question the clinical beliefs of the antiviral drug remdesivir being used to treat patients hospitalized with COVID-19. And yes, there was questions if that was actually as effective anymore, and Omicron came around, which I don't know. Do they still use it? Leave a comment down below. Is remdesivir, is that even still a thing anymore? I don't hear anything much about it now. Pretty much, if it's COVID, it's Paxlovid now. You see what I did there? I'm copycatting off the commercial. EG.5 is the top COVID variant in the United States at 20.6%. FL 1.5.1 is at 13.3%. All right, we do need to take a look now at, let's see here, New Jersey. New Jersey has 331 people in the hospital, and all 70 out of 70 hospitals are reporting today. So finally we saw this correct the number. We knew it would at some point. We just didn't know when, and I suspected it may have been today because Tuesday is the day where you get a larger amount of data from the hospitals all across the country, really. Patients in the ICU, 33. People on a ventilator, that's 11. Discharge volume, just 28 discharges today. So that really didn't go up much. Philadelphia, my city here in Pennsylvania, 833 EMS incidents yesterday. That's higher than the number that I would like to see, so that's not good. The number I would like to not see anybody in the hospital, but I like to see the low 700s if possible, and, well, we didn't do it yesterday. Check this out, though. Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Only 6 EMS incidents right now. That's relatively low, but whoa, what's going on in Chester County, Pennsylvania? I see a whole bunch of things. Heart problems, unresponsive person, emotional disorder, injured person, hypotension, heart problems, unresponsive person. Yeah, busy times right now in Chester County. That's not good. Now to New York State, and we do have to refresh this. Yep, New York State, 943 people tested positive yesterday, not including at homes, did not want to get a test, reinfections, all that stuff. 14.3% positivity rate, 13.9% is the 7-day average. And now, drumroll please. Going to move myself, I think I am going to move myself back to the left. Here's the new number. For the first time since, let's go back here. I had it, yes, April 3rd. New York State is now over 1,000 people in the hospital. To be exact, 1,023 people in the hospital. But that's not the only number that went up. In the ICU, 110. You can see the ICUs, they went up by 14. Number in the hospital, just shy of 100. So hospitalizations in New York State at this time continue to rise. Let's take a look at the hospital admissions. It's going to refresh on us. And you'll see here, hospital admissions, they're continuing up as well. Look at this. They're continuing up on a steady incline right now. And at some point, it'll level off, drop a little, and then go up again. See what happened back in 2022? How we go up, drop a little, and go up and come up more each time? I think that's what we're coming into right now. Let's zoom in the time frame, and let's take a look at New York City, shall we? And look at this. New York City hospital admissions. Wow. They're really going up. They're going up relatively quickly now. That's not something we'd like to see. How about hospitalizations in New York City? Well, they finished a week last week at 418 with 45 people in the ICU. Today it's at 490, 54 people in the ICU. And people are telling me probably, or at least they're probably thinking it, oh, but data report, they have millions of people in New York City. Okay, these are just the ones that are hospitalized. Now, let's just think about how many people have tested positive that didn't even take a test. That's a lot of people. And look here, since about the middle of July, this number now, it's been going up, and the rate of increase each week has been going faster. Look at this. I mean, compared to where they started last week. They started at 369 last week, and it's all the way up to 490 now. That's rising. That's continuing to rise at a relatively quick rate, and should it continue at this rate into September, this number will go over 1,000 just for New York City. So this is not something that we like to see. We don't have any other states that are in today. We will get a few more tomorrow. We will get Texas tomorrow. And let's quickly take a look at a little bit of international data, and then we will call it a day. As we can see here, South Korea cases down 18%. Their deaths are down 11%. Australia, pretty much flat, as is Russia. Belgium, cases are up 72%. Taking a look here at deaths, none reported at this time. Ireland, we continue to be concerned with Ireland, and we don't know if the BA 2.86 is there yet, but their cases are up 84%. Their deaths are now up 567%. 20 deaths versus 3. Then we come down here to Chile, 28% increase in cases. Mako, 5% increase in cases, no deaths reported. Hong Kong, no deaths reported, 2% increase in cases. 22% increase in Iran, 22% increase in Thailand. Then we come down here to Iran, which has a whopping 188% increase. Bulgaria, 13% increase. And there is a slight increase in deaths, 2 versus 1. Denmark, cases are up 53%. Norway, cases are up 16%. Afghanistan this week, cases are down, deaths are flat, 1 versus 1. Poland, cases now up 45%. And let's just do one more, shall we? What will that be? We'll just do one more. Cuba this week, cases are down 9%. Alrighty, folks, that does it for today's pandemic update. I hope I convinced you that the pandemic is not over and that it's still going on. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to my channel down below. If you know anyone that needs a wake-up call that the pandemic is not over, by all means, share this video with them. I will see you all again next time, but until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone. Have a great afternoon and evening.